Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude, welcome back, and today we definitely have a somewhat significant snowstorm to talk about. This is going to be a quick hitter, but it's going to swing through and still bring some pretty bad conditions, so be sure to stay tuned for the whole video and enjoy. Before we get started with the video though, if you guys have not already, please consider subscribing. It really does help my channel grow. I want to thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. We've flown past, and hopefully we can hit our next goal of 3,000 subscribers soon. And also, to help this video reach more people, please consider liking and sharing it as well. And let's get into the video now. Now this storm is still going to be a pretty significant problem. It's going to swing through pretty quickly. Most places will only see snow or maybe even some mix for a few hours maybe. It's going to be a quick hitter, but it will bring some pretty heavy snowfall rates with it at times. And there's winter weather advisories out for most of the state of Pennsylvania as well as northern Maryland at this point, as well as for places like Snowshoe and the mountains of West Virginia. We got winter storm warnings that are still ongoing for western Iowa. Those will probably expire soon, but much of Iowa is under a winter weather advisory as well as Grand Rapids and up there in New York, where these two places could get some higher totals. Maybe Grand Rapids could get 3 to 5 from the lake enhancement, and parts of maybe just north around Watertown, New York, could even get 5 to 8 inches from the lake enhancement there as well. So there's definitely going to be some significant impacts. Again, the timing for some people, depending on where you are. If you're a little bit farther west, it might be during your rush hour. Like I-81 is going to be a mess as well. So that'll definitely be, and even I-95 too, right? Even toward the later part of the day. All right, so this is a good setup map by the Weather Channel. You can see this storm is overall pretty moisture starved. All right, so it's, I mean, even if it did have a good deal of moisture with it, right? It's going to be a quick hitter. So most places will get 1 to 3. There could be some spots around eastern PA, maybe some spots around even western PA as well could get 3 to 5, and then again maybe as much as 5 to 8 if you get the lake enhancement off of Lake Ontario. You can get 3 or 5 to 8, a little bit more. Also, elevation does play a role. Maybe Snowshoe could even get 5 to 8 inches as well. But again, this low swings through. It's a pretty northern storm track, so surprisingly, we're going to see snow this far south. And just barely, though, because surface temperatures will be above freezing for pretty much most of us. All right, especially if you're close to the I-95 corridor, your temperatures will be above freezing for pretty much the entirety of the event. Now, the good news I can say before we get into the models real quick is that there is some improvement, right? This is the 27th through the 3rd. Now you can see East Coast, even parts of eastern Texas, right? Midwest, East Coast will be above average, or some chances for above average temperatures, right? While the West and the Plains is still kind of below average. But look as we head. All right, actually, let's look at the precipitation first. Precipitation, though, will still be above average. So if the air does get just cold enough, we can still see some snow here. But look at the 8 to 14 day. We get the average, maybe even above average for the East Coast, and then still below average for the West Coast and for Alaska as well. And precipitation for that, again, the East will still be above average precipitation. Maybe some drier, slightly drier times there for the West. All right, so let's get into the models now. We got our GFS model here we're going to start off with, all right? And again, it's a quick hitter, right? And what I like about the GFS now is that we get 3-hour increments instead of 6, so it helps us see the storm itself a lot better. This is 11 a.m. Now, the GFS model says this could start at 11. I think it depends on where you are, of course, because it's not going to be a huge precipitation shield, but most areas near the I-95 could, or like, especially if you're like between New York and DC or Philly to DC, will probably start around 9 or so. All right, so it does depend on where you are, but some pretty steady snow, even some moderate to heavy snow in eastern PA, down in Snowshoe. All right, there's definitely going to be some heavy to moderate to heavy snow. You can see the rain snow line does lift off. Like by 2 p.m., DC and Baltimore are all rain. Philly is in the snow, but again, the temperatures are going to make such a difference. Like if you're in city center and you get, the city can be a couple degrees warmer, that can make all the difference there. So rain snow line does get pretty close to Philly and New York. All right, but either way, it's only going to be here for about maybe 4 to 6 hours. Like the precipitation itself could be here for 7 or 8 hours, but the snow will probably last for 3 to 4 hours for most people. But and some areas could still see 3 to 5 inches, so you can tell that the snow is going to come down heavy, and it will come down fast. All right, so let's take a look at the snow totals here. Again, it's such a sharp cutoff, right? Like Philadelphia is 3 inches, but that could be northwest of the city, like just southeast, like just over the border in Jersey. It's literally nothing. All right, so it's going to be definitely be a sharp cutoff, very sharp cutoff. For Watertown, actually 6 to 12 inches, maybe even a foot. All right, it depends on how much lake enhancement you could get, right? In this model, the GFS is calling for some pretty significant lake enhancement. DC, they're calling for nothing for DC, which, I mean, if you go back here, right, like if we go here, they pretty much had rain in DC, really pretty much, maybe starting with a few flakes, but no accumulation for DC or Baltimore, really, according to the GFS model. New York, you get an inch or two, certainly, as well. So let's look now at the V16, the parallel version of the GFS model, right? And you can see, look at these areas of pink. That's your pretty heavy snow, all right? And this time with the V16 GFS, it does get into DC a little bit, but mostly Philly, New York, even Boston, right? It's not going to be very. It's not going to be very cold. You think it'd be colder in Boston, but not really, right? I mean, look at this. It's going to be raining in Boston too, right? We're pretty far east. We're closer to the coast. It will be pretty warm there as well. Snow totals, again, what a sharp cutoff, right? 4 inches for the northern tip of Delaware, 3 inches for Philly, but you go just southeast, you can see it's nothing, right? Like basically nothing. DC, according to this, the parallel version, maybe an inch. It's exactly. New York actually even less than an inch, and Boston really nothing either. So it's gonna be mainly a like a Pennsylvania, Northern Jersey kind of event, and of course, in Northern New York where we get the Lake Ontario enhancement, 6 to 10 inches, of course. So definitely still a pretty big snowmaker. I mean, I know for maybe up there it's not so much, but 6 to 10 is a lot of snow, without a doubt. All right, European model is next, and you can see where the heavy snow is concentrated. Eastern PA, Northern Jersey, all right, and then the purple, of course, is that sleet/mix right in between. This is about 2 o'clock, right? And then but look at this. By 7, 8 o'clock, it is pretty much off the coast. Northern New England could still be seeing some minor precip, but that's about it. All right, by the time we wake up tomorrow, it will definitely be gone. European model, pretty good 4 to 6 inches, maybe 4 to 7 across northern PA, northern Jersey. Again, lake enhancement off Lake Ontario, definitely over 6 inches when and if you do get the lake enhancement. If you don't, it could be a lot less. New York, really nothing. Philly, about an inch or two. Maybe northern Maryland could get over 4 inches according to the European model. And the next, I think this is the next model, right? I know, yeah. We're gonna go to the Canadian model first, and then the HRR model, which is a pretty exciting model as well. So, taking a look at the Canadian model, you can see the Canadian model in general has always been further south, right? Like the snow's been further south, and actually a sleet and ice mixture for DC. So if you get freezing rain, like you know for a fact that your temperatures pretty much have to be 32 or below. Right? If your temperature is 34, you can't have freezing rain. Right? It could have happened, but really, freezing rain, your temperature has to be 32 or below. For snow, it can be above 32. It'll just have a harder time sticking. Right? And you can see, but the Canadian model has a few snow or rain showers still sticking around, maybe in northern mid-Atlantic and even interior northeast by about 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. All right, so a little bit longer in terms of duration, but still pretty similar on the snowfall totals, except it goes a lot farther south. Like we're talking Middletown down to Dover, the Chesapeake, DC is in 4 inches according to this model. But this is really the only model that has a significant accumulating snow for DC, right? All right, so that's like your 3 to 6 region right in there. Still good 6 inches for Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, again, where you do get that lake enhancement. All right, and then we have the HRR model, and this one I am pretty excited to show. All right, so here we have the HRR model, the HR, the high resolution model. Really a good model for these like kind of short-term events, so we can see what could potentially be happening. All right, so here's the low, right? We have the low spinning around right about here. We got the low center right there. So we'll be pulling some moisture up potentially from the Atlantic. And I did look at sea surface temperatures just off of the Atlantic coast, and some spots off the coast of the mid-Atlantic are above average. So if you get moisture to pull out of those regions in the Atlantic Ocean where temperatures are above average, you're going to get a little bit more moisture content thrown in there. So could be a little bit moisture for places along the coast, but also along the coast it's going to be rain for you guys. All right, so that's definitely kind of a disappointment. And here we go. Heavy snow, matter of fact, for central PA, central New York right in here. There's like a nice little band. All right, but watch as we head through time, right? And this gives you like hour after hour, like 1 click equals 1 hour as opposed to 3 or 6 with the other model. So this is nice, very detailed as well. Now DC, this is about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and DC actually in some sleet. So the sleet, I mean, like sleet on top of a few inches of snow is good for sledding, but in general, sleet and freezing rain you really don't want. Especially for traveling. Eastern PA, we still got a heavier band there, but I mean the snow is starting, I'd say, for Philly about this point, 11 or 12 o'clock, still going, right? And then we'll see how much warm air sticks on the backside. Because look at DC, right? This is about 1 or 2 p.m. and we're in like a heavy band of rain, right? But if the temperature is 1 to 3 degrees colder, that's going to turn to a heavy band of snow, even though it's hard to stick, right? Heavy rain, if temperatures happen to tumble a couple degrees, can turn into heavy snow. All right, you got to be careful for that as well. Even if temperatures are 36, 37, right, it could still be snowing. So depending on your atmospheric temperature. And again, Delmarva, southern Jersey, southern Delaware, the Chesapeake, it's definitely going to be pouring down rain, even if it does start out as a few flakes at best. All right, so the herd model, all right, snow totals, definitely still 3 to 5 inches, right? I mean, we still got northeastern Maryland, extreme northern Delaware, northwest of Philly, eastern PA, and northern Jersey. Your good 3 to 5 inch region, right? And again, maybe upwards of a foot, maybe double digits. Again, off of Watertown, off of Lake Ontario, even Lake Erie could even see over 6 inches in some isolated areas. And last model here we have is our DPS model, right? Kind of like another version, sort of like a higher, we're going to call it high resolution version of the Canadian model. These are both Canadian-based models. So it just seems that the Canadian-based models have the snow. I don't know if it's because Canadians are like, if it's colder up there, do they do this? But both the RDPS and GDPS, both Canadian-based models, do have the snow a bit further south, and both have that sleet and freezing rain right there for DC. Kind of looks exactly the same as the GDPS Canadian, right? But the heavy snow stays locked in there for the Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey tri-state, right? So that's interesting how much colder it can hold on. But then it does go over to some rain eventually. But they're still saying it's going to rain later in the day, right? But the snow will probably last only for like the early and middle part of the day. So snow totals here, that was weird. That was weird noise. Above 4, 5, even 6 inches, but that's because again, most of these models you have to take into account that most of these models show like the snow that's falling out of the air, right? Even if you could get 6 inches of snow, sure, that may fall from the air, but what actually sticks, given our surface temperatures, could be 2 or 3, all right? And that could be just on the grassy surfaces. That could be even less than that on the roads, right? I mean, even if the roads aren't treated, most of the roads will be pretty okay, unless the snow really does come down heavy. But as long as the roads are properly treated, combining that with the fact temperatures will be above freezing, I think the roads should be pretty okay. But as always, be sure to take caution on the roads. I mean, even wet roadways are dangerous, right? Let alone snow-covered ones. So thank you guys for watching today's video. Hopefully, maybe in about a month or so, I will finally start with the hurricane season discussions again. I did do a poll in the community post about what you guys are predicting for the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. So go check that out as well. Thank you guys for watching. I am The Weather Dude, signing off. Until next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.